We are part of the paints industry, and I don't know how many of you are getting their homes painted this festive season. Can I have a show of hands?
One,
Ma'am, I'm going to meet you.
two. There's one there.
So,
There's one there.
oh, great.
You got
so,
two. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the situation of paints. It's really far from our imagination. We don't deal with this product line every day. But when we start looking at what people are looking for, there's a lot about inspiration, there's a lot about creation, there is a lot about ideation. All of those things start coming through. And while the decision maker or the purse strings are with the male, but most of the times the decision is actually driven by the lady herself of the home. So when we looked at this, and there is also when it comes to colors, there is an international tradition of announcing the color of the year, where apparels, electronics, all lifestyle goods really follow this trend and they pick it up. In our business, unfortunately, that doesn't help, because the next slide tells you that there is inspiration everywhere. India being a cultural hotbed, so much diversity, splash of colors, there is never an end to how much you can get inspired. One of the themes for our track is democratizing creativity, and that's something which inspired us. And we thought that in this era of rapid digitization, rapid adoption of social media, and people not really worried about sharing what they are doing, it makes a lot of sense to give the part in their hands. So we created, or rather we leveraged a fairly old concept, which is photo walks. And we wove a theme around that called the Nerolac Colour Trails. And this whole concept is woven with the core being that the users need to really make it happen, otherwise it ain't going anywhere. So I have my partner Carlton with me, who's actually going to take you through the entire creation of this concept and how it's worked out for us. Carlton.
Thanks a lot, Peeyush.
Speak.
Sorry, I just got to speak louder. Okay. So in a nutshell, I'm just going to tell you what this particular concept is. It's essentially a branded content series. We've got over 2,000 pieces of content. We've done about 12 cities, 42 trail walks, and about 400 people have interacted with this particular trail walk on ground till date. It's a fairly new concept which we've actually rolled out in November, but it really kickstarted somewhere around March or so. So I'm going to try and quickly tell you how we came about the idea in about 15 slides, but it's not that simple. But we're trying to simplify the whole process for y'all so that y'all can actually figure out what we did. So how did this idea come to being? And yes, all the images which you actually see right now over here is part of, is the content that we've actually received from the Colour Trails. So first bit, the first step was to actually understand consumer intent. And what is the consumer's behavior when they ended up searching for content or ideas, or when they were doing up their place? What is the inspiration behind that? And we zeroed in on a specific thing called wall decor and wall decor ideas. In wall decor, we had about 1 million to about 10 million odd Google searches happening. And this is the kind of spectrum which you actually have when it comes down to wall decor. Users are searching for ways to make their decor simplistic ideas, which can actually enable them to make their individual space more unique in nature. In the case of wall decor ideas, they were actually looking at very specific ideas and specific regions and spaces within their house. How are they actually going to come up with those ideas? And hence we realized that we needed to actually create some form or a platform of inspiration around something of this nature. So how do we create an inspirational art that is unique? And for that, we needed to actually look at a visual medium. And we turned to Instagram. Now, in Instagram, we've got about 38 lakh or 38 million users in India. And these are the top 6 pieces of content that actually people put up on Instagram. Out of which, we obviously chose travel because that was more in tune with us. Bollywood, way too expensive, too much money is involved. Let's make it a little more prudent. And based on all of that stuff, all the intent and everything, we actually knew that travel was one space which we wanted to occupy. We knew that India could be an inspirational trigger because in every space that you go, you get inspired. You can get inspired when you just walk out of this room just looking at a specific design and hope to take that specific design to your home. And obviously, India having a constant changing palette. You go to one city, it's like if you go to Pondicherry, you have a very subdued palette of sorts. But you actually go to Jodhpur, you get a very blue hues of sorts, right? So it's a very diverse space for us to actually be in, and hence we actually chose that. The second step was to actually figure out exactly which markets we want to target. Obviously, we had the Nerolac targeted markets, which is actually more from a brand standpoint. And obviously, then we had the cities which had rich visual appeal. Then we needed to determine our themes. And then through our research, we actually ended up coming up with various themes for cities. Calcutta was known for its heritage. Lucknow, the land of the Nawabs, was known for its architecture. Kerala had beautiful scenic routes, so nature was attached to Kerala. And Delhi, the soul of Delhi is actually in the streets, so we actually took to the streets also. So we had a diverse thematic, element to each of the cities out there. And the step 4, after we actually started kickstarting, as I said, we started off in November. We started it with a bunch of influencers getting onto the streets. And around March or so, we started getting people to come in. We started inviting people on these photo trails and these photo walks. And we started exploring more regions. We had about 8 more regions which we actually explored. We started then putting conversations attached to this, so we needed to hashtag it. So we gave individuals various hashtags which they can actually go ahead and take photographs and inspirations out of that, and then put it up onto the channel or the space that we created. Yes, we did create multiple spaces. We had a website where you can actually see the repository. You had a hashtag on Nerolac Colour Trails also, which you can actually follow all of the imagery out there.
In fact, you should just check out the Instagram.
Yeah, the Instagram is follow the hashtag Nerolac Colour Trails. You'll actually go ahead and see there's a lot of curated content over there. Of course, now once you actually kickstarted it, you needed the multiplier effect, and hence you actually ended up getting a hell of a lot of followers and Instagram people on it. Now, we also chose the people in a very specific manner because we wanted the right kind of audience. So not the audience which had lakhs of followers, but the audience which had the right kind of followers. So we ended up doing that. And all of that, in summary, is what we actually ended up created. We figured out the intent of the consumer, which was essentially looking out for ideas. That led us to the big idea of inspiration. Inspiration led us to actually finding out the locations as to where we should be dealing with. The locations led us to the themes which we actually ended up giving to the consumers. Then we moved ahead with a lot more cities because we wanted to actually enrich the experience across India. We hashtagged it so that conversations could actually end up becoming a lot more fruitful, and obviously we ended up getting influences on it. Now, in summary, this is essentially what we achieved. These are the numbers which we achieved. We had a reach of about 3.2 million individuals. We had engagements with over 500,000 individuals, and we had over 2,000 pieces of user-generated content. Of course, we have about 400 plus individuals on ground actually coming with us on these trails. So that's also a great multiplier effect, which we've actually found out.
In fact, if any of you is from Delhi Kinari Bazaar, It's a riot of colors. If you go to Charminar, amongst that bustling distributor hub, it's a riot of colors. And just imagine if people are there with their mobile phones or their SLRs just clicking pictures. It really lends itself to amazing amount of content and in visually rich content. And the big question was that now what do we do with it? While yes, you've created a lot of love, you've created a lot of interaction, and it is continuously growing, what we realized was that ultimately the core need for the audience was to bring it home. And to bring it home, we had to actually offer them a way of doing it. And all of us know that none of us actually paints our homes ourselves. It's the painter who comes in. And the painter is actually not bothered about all this, what we are doing. Surprisingly, they are. Because we talk to lakhs of painters every year, and whatever database that we have, almost 80% are smartphone users. So they have WhatsApp, at least, that you're using. We also are the only brand in the country which has 10 languages, paint brand in the country which has 10 language options in our website. And surprisingly, the regional traction is almost 3 times that of English. So we created a complete journey of sorts which allows a painter to really get inspired with all of this work. And when the lady of the house chooses any of those designs, they can really translate it onto a wall. And so that it actually helps them realize that dream of seeing something, converting into a palette and bringing it home. We have a very short video which we will play, and then we will obviously shut up. Can we have the video, please?
Nerolac Colour Trails. रंग पूरे भारत में सांस्कृतिक पृष्ठभूमि की पहचान और प्रतीक है। कलर ट्रेल्स एक थीम पर आधारित फोटो वॉक है, जहां पर भाग लेने वालों को अपने आसपास की दुनिया में फैले रंगों को ढूंढने और तस्वीर खींचने की प्रेरणा दी जाती है। बाद में उन पिक्चर्स को अपने सोशल मीडिया अकाउंट्स पर पोस्ट करते हैं। उन तस्वीरों को हमारे एक्सपर्ट्स द्वारा चुना जाता है और फिर नेरोलैक कलर ट्रेल्स बुक में प्रकाशित किया जाता है। कई लोगों को इससे प्रेरणा मिलती है। आज ऐसी ही कई तस्वीरों में एक तस्वीर जो हमारे लिए प्रेरणा बनी है, वो है गुलाबी शहर जयपुर के हवा महल की तस्वीर। आइए इसी से प्रेरणा लेकर हम इसे आज दीवार पर साकार करते हैं। ये है नेरोलैक रेडी मिक्स प्राइमर प्लस पुटी के साथ फिनिश की गई हमारी दीवार। सबसे पहले तो दीवार के हर किनारे से 8 इंच की दूरी पर निशान लगाएं और फिर 2 इंच की मास्किंग टेप चिपकाएं। मास्किंग टेप से फिर से 8 इंच पर निशान लगाइए और 1 इंच की मास्किंग टेप लगाएं।
This is exactly the reason why nobody wants to paint their homes themselves.
और फ्री हैंड मोटिफ बनाइए। कैंची से स्टेंसिल काटिए और उसी मोटिफ रचना को 4 से 5 प्लास्टिक की शीट्स पर ट्रेस कीजिए। इन मोटिव्स को लेकर दीवार पर बेतरीब ढंग से लगा दीजिए या फिर अपने मनचाहे कॉम्बिनेशन के अनुसार लगा दीजिए। अब दीवार को अपनी पसंद के कलर से पेंट कीजिए। अब 1 घंटे बाद मास्किंग टेप और स्टेंसिल्स निकाल दीजिए और पेंट को 8 घंटे सूखने दीजिए। अब हमें मिल गई है एक खूबसूरत आर्टवर्क से सजी दीवार, जिस पर हवा महल की तस्वीर का असर झलक रहा है। मनमोहक गलियारों से प्रेरित ये आर्टवर्क निश्चित ही आपके लिविंग रूम की शोभा में 4 चांद लगा देता है। और ऐसे ही अनेक कल्पनाओं के लिए हमारी वेबसाइट www.nerolac.com/colortrails पर विजिट करें।
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.